Hi friend, Jeanette here. You're about to take one of my Spine Care Foundations classes. This is my signature class for back pain and spinal injuries. It's the first step in taking control of your life again, and the next step is going to my website, JeanetteConery.com, and signing up for your free back pain starter kit. While you're here, please be sure to like my video, subscribe to my channel, and share this with all of your friends. Enjoy the video.
Welcome to Spine Care Foundations. I'm Jeanette. I'll be your teacher today. And I want you to know that we'll need a block, just one. You can also use a rolled up towel and at least one blanket, if not two. Towels are also just fine. Before we start, we'll just go over the rules of yoga therapy, which are, if it hurts, don't do it. Please don't feel that you need to do anything in this class just because I'm suggesting it. Please be your own guide and your own judge about what's appropriate for your body. And that's about it. So pay very close attention to what you're feeling, and you will definitely get benefit from this practice. We're starting out today like we always do, lying on the back. Oh, I didn't mention you'll need a chair. We're using it later on though, not right away. So lie on your back. As you can see, I have a blanket down on my mat today. I'm feeling the need for a little extra cushion underneath my body. So you are always welcome to do that. It's always an option for you. So lying down, another option is to put a really thin padding underneath your low back if you find that your low back hurts when you lie on the floor. And of course, also something under your neck. Sometimes people feel pressure in the head when they lie flat, or they feel some pain in the neck. So go ahead and prop your head if you need to. So here we are on the floor with the knees bent and the feet flat on the floor, and the hands can just be anywhere you want them to be. I'll direct your attention down into your lower abdomen, all the way down just on top, just above that pubic bone. And as you breathe, see if you can detect some motion down there. Now, in this relaxed position, the abdominals are not working to support the spine. So there's going to be more movement there than there would be if you were standing or seated. So it's okay to completely relax and allow your breath to travel all the way down into your pelvic bowl here. This is a relaxing breath that can massage your spine for you. You can feel the massage going down the spine as you inhale and coming back up as you exhale. Complete relaxation of the tension in the area around the sacrum. Okay, and now bring your attention up a little bit to your waist and the bottom of your rib cage. It can be helpful even to put your hands there around the bottom part of your rib cage. And as you breathe, see if you can feel your rib cage expanding into your hands out to the sides. This is a sign that your diaphragm is helping you breathe, and that's what we want. We want that diaphragm to be functioning. It's like a pump. It helps us pull the air in and push the air out. And this is a gentle breathing. We're not really pushing hard or trying to pull the breath extremely deep here. We're just observing the way the breath is moving in the various parts of the body. And if you find that you're not having much connection with your diaphragm, you can try one of the breathing classes in the library, or you can even attend live. We work on that a lot in that class. So moving up to the area of the neck and the upper chest, the collarbone area, you can rest your hands on the floor here or on your belly, wherever they want to be. Bring your attention to the collarbone and the neck. and the upper back even. So these muscles often will try to help you breathe to the point where they're trying to do the whole job for you. You do have muscles here that help you breathe, but their effect should be almost imperceptible. It should be very subtle. So if you're feeling like your neck is tensing and your shoulders are tensing as you inhale, see if you can let that go consciously. And don't worry if it's a real challenge. Turning these patterns around can take a lot of time and effort. Just start to bring your awareness to it and the rest will follow. So we're breathing down into the body without moving the neck, without tensing the shoulders. The arms and the shoulders are resting heavily on the floor. So now that we're in touch with the breath, let's move our attention to the rest of the body. Starting with the low back and the legs. So I'll have you bring your left knee up and towards you. Put both hands on your left knee. Take a breath. And then as you exhale, pull the knee in towards your chest, towards the nipple line. Don't allow that knee to track out into your armpit. As you inhale, the knee floats away from you. You'll keep your hands there on the knee. And we're moving with the breath, exhaling to bring the knee in and inhaling to let the knee float away. It's a small movement. And as you go, you'll notice that the left side of your low back is getting a gentle stretch. The left side of your sacrum and the SI joint area is getting a really gentle massage. So this is a really good thing to do on a day when your low back is feeling really triggered. It's just a very gentle way of getting some movement in there, loosening it up, getting some circulation to the area. So after about 6 repetitions, we can move to the other side. Let's do that now. We'll put the left foot down and then bring the right knee up, both hands on the right knee. Take a breath. Exhale, the knee comes in. Inhale, the knee goes out. 6 times. Good. Now we're going back to that left knee. So put the right foot down, bring the left knee up again. This time we're working on the hip. We're going to do some scouring. So pull that knee in towards you as far as you can comfortably, and then take the knee across side to side. And we're scouring the hip, and we're also working the front of the hip joint capsule. This little bubble of cartilage that surrounds the hip joint. It's a really strong tissue there, but it can get kind of stiff and crunchy. So if we do this kind of gentle movement with it, that can start to loosen up. So if you ever feel pinchiness when you bring your leg in towards your body, the hip joint capsule might be one thing that could be causing that. All right, so now we'll try the other side. Put the left foot down on the floor and then bring the right knee in. Both hands on the knee, pull the knee in and just let the leg go side to side. Okay, almost ready to move on. All right, so we're putting that right foot down and let's stretch out the whole body. So straighten your legs on the floor. We're going to stretch the front of the body. Inhale the arms up overhead. Lift your back up off the floor if it feels comfortable. Wiggle your hips a little. And then bring the hands down to your sides. Feet back up on the mat. And we're going to do some more warming up for the legs and the hamstrings and the feet. So we'll start again with the left leg. Bring that left leg up off the mat and straighten it out like you're going to put a footprint on the ceiling. You can use your hands to support your leg. If you can get your hands around the back of the leg, you can interlace your fingers. If that's not possible, you can use a towel, actually. I don't have my towel with me, but if you can imagine, I'm holding a towel and I've wrapped it around the back of my leg and I'm using it to support the weight of the leg. This takes pressure off your back if you're not able to reach the leg with your hands. Okay, so we want support on that heavy leg. We don't want the back trying to lift that leg up. And what we're doing now is we're going to pull the toes down towards your face. This is called dorsiflexion of the ankle. And you'll notice right away that that increases the stretch all the way up your leg. So let's plantar flex. This is like a ballerina pointing the toes, and dorsiflex. And we'll do that 3 more times, just warming up the ankle and the back of the leg. And then we'll do some ankle circles. So we'll do 4 in each direction, circling the ankle. Make sure that your leg doesn't move. Your hip is slightly internally rotated when you do this. And that you're making your ankle circles as large as possible. You really want to challenge the range of motion in your ankle here. And now I've done 4, so I'm reversing my direction. Sometimes this makes us have a snap, crackle, pop. Okay, all right, so we're done with the ankle circles. Now we're going to do something a little bit different. I want you to get in touch with your transversus abdominis. So take a breath, and as you exhale, pull your lower belly in. And can you feel those muscles just above your pubic bone engaging? And if you can't, you can put your leg down for a second and put your hands there. Take a breath and exhale and try to pull those muscles in, and you'll feel some tightening happening underneath your fingers. That's how you'll know that those are turned on. So keep those turned on, and we're going to do some movement with the leg using that transversus abdominis to stabilize the body. So we're taking both legs out to the sides. We're opening both legs. One is straight and one is bent. And then we're going to bring them back in and actually kind of scissor them across the center line. Now keep pulling those toes back into the ankle dorsiflexion that we were using earlier, and you'll find that when your left leg crosses the center line of the body, you'll feel a really big stretch on that outer hamstring. This is the one that is the tightest for most people. So we're going to inhale, open the legs, all the while using transversus abdominis to stabilize. And exhale, cross the legs in front of you. Keep pulling those toes in. Inhale, open. Use your hands for support if you need to. Try not to open your legs to the point where you're not in control of them anymore. We're not really going into a big stretch with a relaxation here. It's active the whole way. Okay, we'll just do one more like this. Good, and now we're ready to put that left foot down on the floor. Rest for a second, and let's take a little break and do some circles around the sacrum. So your sacrum is the hard, flat, bony spot at the very bottom of your back, and you can feel it on the floor here. And if you tilt your pelvis to the side, yeah, we're gonna call that, let's see, tilt your pelvis to the left side. We're gonna call that 9 o'clock, right? And then you can rotate up to 12 o'clock, that's your tailbone. And then to 3 o'clock, that's your right side. And then pull your transversus abdominis in and rotate to 6 o'clock. That's where you have the top of your sacrum. So we'll go around one more time, making this sacrum circle, and then we'll do 2 circles in the opposite direction. Just a little massage, just a little feel-good opportunity between working sets here. So now we're ready to do the right leg. Straighten your right leg. Actually, sorry, let me back up. Find your transversus abdominis again with your fingers. Take a breath and pull that transversus abdominis in, and then lift the leg. So keep your transversus abdominis active the entire time that we're doing this exercise. Either hands or towel behind the leg. Pull the toes into dorsiflexion, plantar flexion. 4 times, moving the ankle through these movements. That's number 2, 3, and 4. Now we're ready for the circles. Make these circles as big as you can, and make sure your hip is still slightly internally rotated, just a little bit. Okay, we're gonna go in the opposite direction. Good. All right, now we're ready to pull the toes in. Okay, open the legs, still have that transversus abdominis on. Open the legs and cross them in front. Pull the toes in and really feel a stretch on that. Biceps femoris is what it's called, the outer hamstring. Inhale, open. We'll do this 5 times. So we're on number 2 now. Exhale, closed. Sometimes your movement might actually be pretty small, right? There are those of us who have a lot of tightness on the inner thighs, and then the legs won't make a very wide V here. They'll make a little V, and that's good. That's fine. Don't push it. All right. So we're ready now to straighten the legs out on the floor and move up to our hip exercise for the day. This is for the hip abductors, very important. Also for the internal rotators. We want these 2 groups of muscles working a lot. They do a lot of work in the background to stabilize us as we walk. And so when they're not working and doing their job correctly, all sorts of wonky things can happen in the hips and spine. So as we inhale, we'll take the right leg out to the side, keeping the toes pointing straight up. Now, this is going to mean internal rotation of the hip, and it's going to also mean that your toes, you're doing some work here. Okay, and we're gonna bring that leg back in. We'll try the left side. So you're really trying to feel a contraction right here on the side of your hip. And we're squeezing as we hold, and then we're going to bring that leg back in. So we'll do that 3 more times on each side. Inhale and lift the right leg out to the side and squeeze as you hold. Now, something else we want to have attention on here, bring the leg back in, is the transversus abdominis. Use that muscle to stabilize your pelvis as you lift your left leg out to the side and hold and squeeze and bring it back in. So that when you bring a leg out to the side, we're doing the right now, your pelvis stays level with the floor. We don't want that pelvis dipping or tipping to the sides here. Really important. Left leg goes out and we hold. Okay, bring it back in. Last time, right leg goes out. If you're not feeling anything in your hip here, try turning your leg inward a little bit more. You'll definitely feel it. Bring the right leg back in and left leg. And back in. Good. That one is always hard, no matter how many times I've done it. So now we're going to move a little bit of attention to the upper body, and then we're going to put upper body and lower body movements together. So have your feet on the floor. Inhale, both hands up overhead as far as you can comfortably. Some of us can touch the floor with the backs of our hands. Others of us don't do that quite yet. So just accept where you are today and be happy with the movement that you do have. As you exhale, bring your hands out to the sides and down along the floor. So you're sweeping along the floor with your fingertips. So this is like a backstroke movement. Inhale, arms go up. And exhale, hands come down. So that's a movement for the shoulders, but how can we incorporate the core strength into this so that we're multitasking, right? Let's be really efficient with our yoga time. Place your fingertips on your transversus abdominis again. Take a breath. As you exhale, pull that transversus abdominis in, and then keep your middle finger and your ring finger tips on the hip points. Bring your thumbs to those bottom ribs. So if your transversus abdominis is on, you can also pull rectus abdominis, the six-pack muscles, into action, which will pull down the bottom of your rib cage in front. So now you have a full engagement of some real core stability here. Keep that engagement with the ribs down as you inhale and lift your arms. And you'll find it's harder to get the arms high if we're not letting the rib cage pop up. Exhale, bring them down. So if your arms don't go as far, just allow that, because the most important part of this is keeping the ribs down. And I'll tell you why. Because we want to train the shoulders to be able to move without relying on the spine for range of motion. That leads to overuse of the spinal joints. Overuse equals arthritis. So arthritis prevention here, or treatment, depending. Okay, one last one here. Inhale the arms up. Exhale down and out to the sides. Good. Now let's put this together with the legs. We're going to do some bridging. I'm going to have you put your block between your thighs, just like that. Make sure your toes are pointing right at the bottom of the mat. Okay, and your feet are about hip width distance apart. So inhale and lift your hips about halfway only. Exhale down. We're just testing this out. Okay, guys. Inhale up about halfway. Exhale down. Now, this might be where you stay, because this is a good place to be. You're strengthening your back. You're strengthening your hips. If you feel really comfortable here and you think you're ready for a little bit more effort, try going up a little bit higher until you find that magical point where you're no longer able to lift your hips any further without arching your back, lifting your lower rib cage, okay? And then bring it down. So either halfway up or all the way up, your choice. We're adding arms now. And this is also optional. You can decide you don't like this and you don't want to use the arms. So we're going to inhale, lift the hips. Exhale, hold. Inhale, arms go up. Exhale, down, and the hips come down at the same time. Okay. Inhale, lift the hips. Exhale, hold. Inhale, arms come up. Exhale, arms and hips come down at the same time. When you lift your hips, try to push into the floor through the ball of the foot equally with the heel of the foot, and you'll find that that increases the engagement all the way up the back of your leg. Let's try this again. Inhale up with the full engagement of the feet. Exhale, hold. Inhale, arms come up. Exhale, everything comes down. Inhale up, exhale, hold. Inhale, arms come up. Exhale, arms come down and hips come down. Let's just do one more. Inhale up, exhale, hold. Inhale, arms come up. Exhale, arms come down and hips come down. Well done, yogis. We'll take the block out. We're done with the block. And we're going to stretch the back because that was a lot of work for the back. So you can bring in your legs one at a time like this to stretch your back. And then you can also do two at a time if it feels good. I actually met someone this week who told me doing two at a time does not work. It was the first time I'd heard that, but I want to make sure I include that now in my teaching. Hey, this doesn't feel awesome for everyone. Okay, so we're putting the feet down on the floor. And we're ready to move on to the belly. So shift your hips to the side, roll over onto your side without any twisting. And we're gonna stay here for one breath. And then we get to move on to the belly. Okay, I don't like this blanket here for this because it's not under my whole body. So that's going away. So we'll start with a very simple cobra. The thing we want to do before we do any kind of back extension though is lengthen the spine. So come up onto your elbows like I am and pull yourself long by pulling the elbows towards your hips. You'll feel your body kind of scooch like a centimeter on the mat. And then you can lengthen out your belly and place your rib cage down on the mat. And when you're all the way down, you'll feel like your back is just about half an inch longer. Okay, so now we have the arms. The arms can go out to the sides like this. If you have a shoulder issue, this is a really good way to have your hands in this pose. If you don't have any shoulder restrictions, you can place your hands on the sides of your rib cage, just below the line of the nipple. And make sure that you have your elbows pointing directly behind you so they're not out to the sides like this or anything like that. So as we lift the head and the chest, we need to pull the belly button up. So try that, just a little lift, pulling the belly button up. Okay, and then exhale down. Now we're gonna add something with the hands. So same thing, lifting the head and chest with the belly button pulled in. And as you do that, pull through your hands like you're lengthening yourself forward. Like a snake in the grass, lifting its head as it's moving forward onto a branch. Exhale, come down. Okay, we're gonna do that a few more times. Inhale, pull yourself forward and lift, pulling up the belly button. And you'll notice that maybe automatically even your glutes will be squeezed, pushing your pubic bone into the floor just a little bit. Then exhale down. Inhale up. And exhale down. Inhale up. We're going to hold here. If you're comfortable with it, you can stay. Keep pulling the belly button in, and you'll notice the breath is different now. This is not that relaxed belly breathing we were doing. It's in the rib cage. Try to expand your rib cage out in all directions as you inhale. Feel it grow wider in the back. And then exhale. Let's all come back down onto the mat. Place your hands underneath your forehead. And we're going to do some leg lifting. So this is going to be really good for the glutes and the hips and the low back. So let's first make sure that the legs are rotated slightly inward. And then as you inhale, lift your right foot, pull your belly button up and in, and reach long through that leg. And keep that leg internally rotated so that the toes are pointing down at the floor. The top of your leg is shining down to the yoga mat. And then bring that leg down. We're going to do the same thing on the other leg. Inhale, lift the leg, pulling the belly button up. You will definitely feel your glutes, your butt working here as you reach long and put it down. We're going to do that 3 more times on each side. Inhale up, reach. Don't forget to pull up your belly button, scoop it in, and bring it down. Other side. Inhale up, and exhale down. So if this is bothering your low back, you can do a couple different things. I'll bring it down. You can lift your leg only a little bit. You can try making this movement smaller. Or you can just take a break. That's always an option. Last round here, lifting the leg, reaching long. Put the leg down. Up, lift, reach, and down. Okay. So the next option we have is to put those two together, upper body and lower body. We're going to do it as gently as we possibly can. So bring your hands back to the position they were in when we were doing Cobra, either out here or here. Inhale, lift your head and chest as you pull yourself forward nice and long, pulling the belly button up towards your spine, squeezing your glutes and pushing your pubic bone down into the floor very gently. And as we're here, you're going to lift your right leg and reach maybe your right arm out. So sometimes the arm is too much. So the arm is optional. It's all optional. Okay, we're going to bring it all back down. And then we'll do left leg and right arm. Reaching through the fingertips and through the toes. So you have a long diagonal line happening here, and bring it down. And so we take a break between repetitions, because that's a lot of work. Okay, let's do another one. Cobra position. Lift your right leg, my bad. Left arm. Reach, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and switch sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Come down with your head on your hands for a little break, and we're gonna do one more round. Coming on up. Okay, Cobra position. Right leg, left arm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, arm is optional. You can easily just stay in the Cobra position and lift your leg. Left leg, right arm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bring it down. Hands on your head, head on your hands. Bend your knees here. Take your knees wide. And then the feet can sway side to side. I call this one the reverse windshield wipers, because your lower legs are like windshield wipers. And we're on the tummy. It's just a little loosening up for the low back. Okay. So we're finally ready to move up off the floor. And we want to stretch out the back because we've been doing a lot of work. So my intention for this class was to make it a no knees class. I guess I should have said that at the beginning. We're going to bring the chair up to the mat, with at least the front legs of the chair on the mat so it won't slide around. And then we're going to come up to a half standing position with the hands on the chair and the feet are kind of wide here. And we're going to do a version of the spinning wheel pose from here. So you can take a breath, and as you exhale, shift your weight back, bend your knees. So this is a lot like child's pose. As you inhale, come forward, put some weight on your hands and find that neutral spine. Reach long through the top of your head, reach long through your tailbone, pull your belly in, and exhale back. Inhale up. If you've ever had any kind of disc injury or spinal stenosis, then you want to avoid rounding your low back like this. So keeping it straight should be pretty easy in this version of the pose. You come forward, you lengthen, and then you exhale, come back. Okay. All right, now we're going to do some work for the upper back, and we're going to do that on the wall. Before we do, let's touch base with our basic standing pose in good alignment. So we're going to put the block between the thighs, toes are pointed forward. And last week we talked about spirals. Can you remember where your spirals are? So let's push into the floor through the big toe knuckle here and lift the arches away from the floor, the bottoms of your feet. So that's a spiral that runs from your big toe to the outer ankle. Now to activate the inner spiral of the lower leg, we can squeeze the block slightly and you'll feel the way the energy runs from your heel up to the inside of your knee. There's another spiral that runs from the inside of the knee to the outer hip like this. And if we squeeze the butt a little, maybe 30% of maximum, without allowing the legs to roll out, we find that we now have a very sturdy, stable foundation for movement. And we can do lots of things with the upper body that might have felt really unstable before. Okay, so we're going to try to find neutral spine here. Place one hand on your low belly and one hand on your low back. Pull the low belly in and up and reach your tailbone. Push your sacrum down with the hand that's on your low back. And then when you release, allow that pelvic alignment to settle into a place that feels natural. Don't worry if this doesn't feel very natural to you. Over time, it gets easier. So roll the shoulders back, bring the head back so that your ears are right over the shoulders. With all the alignment we've done from the bottom up to the top, we've just built a solid tower. And now we're ready to go and face the wall. So let's face the wall and find that alignment again. We won't spend that much time on it this time. Just touch base with your inner mountain here. Place your hands on the wall and about shoulder height and walk your feet back. Okay, so when you walk your feet back, you might want to bring your hands down a little and find what we call wall dog. This is like downward facing dog on the wall. And we want to bring all the elements of down dog into this pose. So the spirals of the legs, the stability of your core, press into the hands, press those hands into the wall with your fingers spread wide and reach long through that tailbone. Keep your spine neutral here. Try not to round your low back and pull the bottom ribs in. Now we'll do a flow. So we're going to inhale and come into a plank pose here. And all the same parts of that standing mountain pose that we just talked about are present in this position as well. Exhale back into downward facing dog. Inhale into plank. So when you're in the plank, bring your shoulders down away from your ears. Press actively into the wall and reach the back of your head up towards the ceiling, like a turtle poking his head out of the shell. Exhale, downward facing dog. Now, if you have shoulder tightness, this is a really good way to start loosening it up. With a little bit of load on the tendons, when we move them, we can actually start to break up some of the adhesions. Of course, with the caveat that we want to take it slow. We don't want to overload and overdo it. These changes happen slowly over time. All right, so now that we've done that shoulder warm up, we have another thing planned that's going to incorporate upper body and lower body. We're going to use the block here, and we're going to do some chair pose. I want you to know, last week we did chair pose with the hips on the wall, like this. Okay, and you are always welcome to do it this way in my class if that's what you want. This is a really good place for people who haven't gotten a lot of stability yet and they're still working on that. But today I wanted to talk about how to do this pose bearing your body weight. So I'm sideways so you can see me. And of course, again, we're going to start with that mountain pose. So touch base with your feet, your knees, your thighs, your glutes, shoulders, and your core, and your head. And chair pose involves squatting. Basically, it's a squat, but we do it the yoga way, which is a lot slower with a lot more attention to detail. So we'll start with just a very basic exhale down into your squat. And then inhale up. Now, we don't need to make this a really deep squat, especially because of the purpose that we have today, which is attention to the spinal alignment. So when we go down into this squat, you might notice gravity wants to pull you forward. Gravity is kind of making you want to do this. In fact, a lot of people will put their arms in front of them and kind of round their upper back forward. So the yoga way turns this apparently lower body workout into an upper body workout and a core workout. So it's the whole body now. So when we come down into our little baby squat, hold that for a second, roll your shoulders back, press into your thighs, lengthen yourself up, and keep your head back. Okay, and then come back up. Exhale, come down into your squat and lengthen yourself as much as you can. Now, this is great for people who are really triggered and they just need a little bit of gentle movement. Or maybe, like I mentioned earlier, some of us are still working up to building some strength in our backs. But we also have some students that are ready for the next step. So that next step would be adding some arms here. So we're going to inhale the arms up. And then as we exhale, we can come down into the squat and bring the hands into the cactus position, making a cactus shape. And then up again. So this adds a lot of upper body work, upper back specifically, but we also need the chest to be open and stretched out. And the block between the legs, of course, is providing us with some structure for the hips and the low back. All right. Now, sometimes we want to hold. And while you're holding, you're thinking about your feet. Are they rolling out to the sides? Is your back long? Is your neck safe? And then we're coming back up. Sometimes holds in this pose actually trigger some spasm. So take it easy wherever you are. This pose is about giving yourself grace. Can you allow your body to be as it is in this moment? Can you refrain from striving to achieve a certain shape or certain depth of your squat or anything? Can you let that stuff go and just use this shape to explore the relationship of your body to gravity and how you can line yourself up to work with gravity and let it be a healing force for you. Okay. So we can roll the shoulders again. And we can add one more thing to that. And I really enjoy putting a balance element into my classes. So we're going to do inhale, arms up, exhale, squat, or chair pose, Utkatasana, if you're interested in this Sanskrit. And then when we come up, we'll come onto the toes. Really need to use some core strength here to keep yourself steady. Exhale down into the squat. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Okay, good. We're done with the block. Well done, yogis. Let's just take a second to integrate what we've learned. So come to mountain pose without the block. Let your feet be a comfortable distance from each other. Toes pointing forward. It's okay if that feels a little pigeon-toed. Knees slightly bent. Work your attention up from the feet to the knees, to the hips, to the low belly and the low back. Feel yourself rooting down into the earth through your legs. These are the prongs of a plug. You're plugging yourself down into the earth. And then above the pelvis, you're rising. Your spine lifts up like the trunk of a tree or a vine growing up towards the sun. Let's just place the hands at the sides with the palms facing out. This externally rotates the shoulders just a little bit, gives us that extra bit of widening in the collarbone area across the front of the chest. Take a few breaths here. Check in with your head. See if the head is perched on top of the spine in a way that allows gravity to distribute the weight of your body through the bones into the earth. See if you can feel the breath breathing in your body. Standing here with as much ease as possible, we can relax the body to allow the breath to happen on its own. And by doing that, we begin to flow with the river of life instead of swimming upstream. Flowing with the river of life. Okay, so let's transition down onto the floor again. We're about to get really relaxed. So we'll go down the same way we came up. Hands on the chair. We'll do a variation of the spinning wheel. So if you don't mind being on your hands and knees, feel free to go down on your hands and knees and do that version here. Exhale back, inhale up. And now we're ready to come down. So we'll go down. Have your blankets nearby. Push the chair away. We don't need that anymore. And it's time to stretch out the front of the body. We did a lot of work in the front of the body again today with that chair pose. So I'm going to have you take your blanket or towel or two towels even, lay down on your back and then put that blanket underneath your hips. Oh, that feels really good already. So from here, we want to lengthen out the spine, of course. So we're going to grab onto the edges of the mat and just kind of pull the rib cage away from the blanket about an inch. And then if you press your sacrum down into the towel or blanket, you'll feel like you're arching your back a little and you're turning on the muscles of your back in the lengthened position, creating a long, beautiful arch there. And now we can take the left leg and stretch it out on the floor. This is a stretch for your psoas. I want you to feel free here. Just relax your leg completely, even if that means that your toes flop out to the sides. That might actually help lengthen out your psoas even more. And then if you want to make this stretch a little bit deeper, you can take your left arm up overhead. And we'll stay here for 1 minute. Breathe into the front of your left hip. Breathe into the left side of your low back. Feel the low back lengthening. Feel the line from your low back to the inside of your hip and feel that lengthen. Okay. First, bring your arm down. Then if you press into the floor through your right foot and use your transversus abdominis as you bring that left foot up, you'll find it's a lot easier. It's less pressure on the back, making that transition. Okay, so now we get to put the right leg down on the floor. And then you have the option of bringing your right arm up overhead. If you want to have your arm up overhead, but your shoulder is not allowing you to rest the arm on the floor, use a pillow to prop your arm up so you can relax here. We don't want any tension in the body at all when we're doing this pose. Okay, bring the right arm down. Press into the floor through your left foot, turn on transversus abdominis, and then bring your right leg up. Remove the blanket from underneath you and put your hips back down on the floor again. So we're moving into the final relaxation phase of the yoga practice here. And I want you to make yourself as comfortable as you possibly can. So for some of us, that means putting the legs on the chair. For others, it's going to mean adding some padding underneath the body. Okay. Just take a minute to find your bliss here. And you can do your final relaxation with your legs flat on the floor or with your knees bent. It's all fair game here. And now I'm going to show you something we haven't done yet. bring your hands together in front of you and rub them until they feel warm. And then place your hands on any part of your body that you feel needs a little extra attention, support, healing. Maybe there's a part of you that's a little bit creaky today. So go ahead and do that now. Place the hands under, for me, it's underneath the sacrum today. Feel the way your hands are tingling. That tingling is the energy of your nerves, remembering all of the friction from the rubbing. So there's some discharge of some energy happening here, and we're hoping to bring some of that energy into the body. So you can use a visualization to cue your body. Your body speaks with images and sensations. So use a visualization to imagine healing light entering your body through your hands. This is a way of communicating to your body. This is healing time, and healing is my intention right now. So take this energy from my hands, put it into the cells, use it. Okay, we can do that another time. Rubbing the hands together until they feel warm, and then place them somewhere on your body. Picture healing energy entering your body through your hands, going right into the place where you are hoping it will. Picture it going directly there. Now relax. Allow yourself to be completely soft in every way for 30 seconds before we move our way back up. All right. So bring your feet onto the mat and bring your knees in, either one at a time or both together. It's just one last little stretch for the back. And then we're going to roll over onto the side. And just stay here for one breath. And then we'll come to a comfortable seated position. All right. Well, a quick closing here. Thank you for coming to class. I'm really pleased and honored every time I get to share what I've learned. I feel it's appropriate right now to quote my teacher, Lynn Weinberger. She's just kind of in the room with me today. She says, I am not Oh, what did she say? I am not a healer. I'm not healing you. I'm just making suggestions. And you get to learn what is healing. So let's all give a moment of gratitude for the people in our lives who have taught us something very valuable that has stayed with us. And then allow that heartfelt warmth to extend out into the air, into the space around you, front and back, upward, to the sides, in all directions, even down into the earth. For the good of all. From my heart to yours, be happy, be well. Namaste.